Hi, you guys. It's Yaz. And today I want to talk about how narcissists fight. All right. Narcissists fight in different ways depending on the narcissist you're dealing with. Like, for instance, if you're dealing with a covert narcissist, they fight in silence. A covert narcissist is going to kill you with silence. That's why they're famous for the silent treatment. They're famous for not validating you. You may say something to a covert narcissist and they don't acknowledge what you're saying, or they act like they don't hear you, or they roll their eyes or something like that. They're passive aggressive. So a covert narcissist, when they fight or they're angry or something like that, they're going to be passive aggressive. They're going to smile and say nothing's wrong, and then maybe have a face on later on, or, show up late or not text you back. They're going to pay you back, in an indirect, passive aggressive way. When you're dealing with a different type of narcissist, maybe an overt narcissist, they're going to fight. They're going to tell you to your face what's bothering you, okay? That's the beauty of an overt narcissist, so to speak, is that basically where you stand with them, because they're going to let you have it. They're the kind that will get in your face, try to intimidate you so you shut up, okay? A overt narcissist is going to try to, be very threatening. They may start screaming and shouting, and then they put you in a position where you're afraid to open your mouth, okay? Because you don't want to have any kind of upset. This is how they control you. So narcissists will control you with either silence, or they will control you by, trying to intimidate you by yelling and screaming or shouting or something like that. So you really have to analyze the type of narcissist you're dealing with. And it's, I tell people all the time when they're looking for a partner, one of the most important things to look for is, how does this person fight? How does this person deal with conflict? Because if you're dealing with somebody that really is vengeful or wants to make you pay, in other words, you have a disagreement with a narcissist and they give you the silent treatment for a long time, maybe a couple of days, a couple of weeks, a couple of months, all right? You're dealing with somebody who really wants to give you emotional abuse, all right? Silent treatment is emotional abuse. Abuse doesn't have to always be somebody hitting you or something like that. It's somebody that is causing you to feel a certain way and feel low about yourself, okay? And this is how narcissists are. When you deal with a narcissist, when they have conflict, they don't just let things go. They're going to make you pay for whatever you do, all right? So a narcissist always wants to constantly get one up on you and really make you pay. And a lot of times, and especially with covert narcissists, you may think the conflict is over, but it's not over, okay? And this is what makes covert narcissists so tricky and so difficult to deal with, because they don't tell you what's on their mind. They hold back, okay? They think they're being more clever by not being vulnerable to you and telling you exactly what's bothering them. And also, covert narcissists are the biggest cowards out there, okay? They can't handle shame. They can't handle being called out, or let's say you have the goods on them and you're coming at them with the facts and you're really laying it on. That covert narcissist is gonna cringe when you come at them. So the way they deal with that is they're gonna stonewall you. They're not gonna let you finish a sentence. They're gonna walk out on you. They're gonna hang up the phone and everything like that. They will not sit at the table, talk, and be transparent. You never get transparency with a covert narcissist. Never, you guys. They may open up a little bit, but they always hold back, and you will never be able to connect with a covert narcissist. A lot of times, the biggest problem is that you don't even realize that you're dealing with a covert narcissist. You just feel like, okay, maybe they need to cool down. Maybe they need to, some time for themselves or something like that. But a covert narcissist can't, open up. And this is the biggest problem with dealing with them. So when you're dealing with narcissists, all right, what happens in a lot of, toxic relationships is once you see how this narcissist fights, if you're an empathic type of person, you're going to try to keep the peace and you're not going to try to upset that narcissist. So what you're doing is you're compromising yourself and you're feeling like, you can't be yourself. You're always going to have to shut your mouth because you have to keep the peace. All right. And there's so many people in these type of relationships trying to keep the peace because a narcissist, they won't come to the table and be transparent about it, or they'll just make your life a misery, okay? A narcissist will make your life a misery if you don't go along with what they say. If they don't like what you're saying to them, they're going to make your life a misery. This is why we always say you've got to go no contact with a narcissist, because a narcissist is only going to bring, they're going to kill your self-esteem. They're going to make you feel like you're nothing. Covert narcissists, they make you, the way they, make you feel low is they make you feel like you're nothing. They don't validate you. They ignore you, okay? A covert narcissist will constantly ignore what you say, and you're sitting there thirsty, waiting for them to say, yeah, no, you're right, or I see what you're saying. They won't do this because they don't want you to have that power. So the way that covert narcissist maintains power is by being silent, and you're sitting there doubting yourself. That's the worst thing you can do when you deal with a narcissist. When you deal with a narcissist, you've got to be self-assured, okay? Even if you're not completely 100% sure yourself, you never let that narcissist know you're not, because that is like blood to a wolf. Once that narcissist knows that you're doubting yourself, or you always have to go to them for their validation, like you go up to them and you say, so what do you think of this dress? Does it look nice on me? And that narcissist just, waves their head and says, it's okay, or something like that. That's going to make you feel low, okay? So you don't do it. You don't go to a narcissist for validation. You validate yourself, all right? Remember that. You've got to have your own power. You've got to have an attitude like, you know what? I don't really give a shit what they think, all right? This is who I am. You either accept me or you don't. And if you don't, there's the door, okay? And this is how you maintain your power. But see, the problem is a lot of people are stuck in a situation. They might be married to the narcissist. They may have kids with the narcissist. They may be financially dependent on the narcissist. So they have to, compromise what they normally would be able to say if they weren't in that position to try to keep the peace, all right? This is why I tell you guys all the time, you've got to be independent. Never, ever, ever be dependent on a narcissist for anything. Not money, not validation, not support or emotional support, because they will not be there for you all the time for emotional support. And that's one of the signs that you're going to know that you're dealing with a narcissist, because a narcissist is not always there for you. They pretend to be there for you, especially covert narcissists. They pretend to be there for you. They'll try to make like, they're your best friend and they got your back and, they're so kind and everything like that. Like I had somebody on one of the posts say, I'm having a hard time figuring out if she's a covert narcissist, because sometimes she seems so genuine and so loving and caring, and other times she's different. Well, if she's not consistent and you're sitting there questioning it, then guess what? That's not really her, all right? She's not, 100% there for you. And when you go in a relationship or you go in a serious relationship, you're going to have hard times in life. Somebody may get sick. You may have financial struggles. Children are a lot of work, needless to say. And you need somebody that you can fall back on and rely on. And a narcissist is not going to be there. If you have children with a narcissist, God help you, all right? Because that narcissist is going to put all the responsibility on you to do everything. If they could do it, They're going to make you do everything, all the tough stuff, taking the kid to the doctor, sitting and doing homework with the child. When the child's upset, consoling that child and everything like that. And what is the narcissist going to do? They're going to make excuses why they can't do it. Or they're going to ghost and disappear and come back later and say, oh, they were busy, okay? Narcissists, especially covert narcissists, they love to say, oh, I'm sorry, I was busy. Well, you know what? We're all busy, okay? We're all busy. So, that's just a lame excuse to get out of doing what they're supposed to do. And the thing is, when you're dealing with covert narcissists, all right, you've got to be able to read the unspoken word, okay? In other words, when that narcissist doesn't text you back, that is a message, all right? In today's technology, it literally takes 30 seconds or less to send a text. So anybody that sits there and tells you, I was so busy I couldn't get back to you or something like that, okay, it's BS, all right? Unless you're laying on a hospital bed or gurney with a mask over your face, if somebody wants to get back to you, they can get back to you, all right? People, they prioritize what's important to them. They get back to their boss now, don't you? Yeah, because they want that paycheck. So don't, look at the pattern of behavior with somebody. It's one thing to make an excuse one time, and it's another thing when somebody's constantly making excuses. When you see those constant excuses why they can't do something, or they can't show up, or they can't call you back, or their phone died, or there's always an excuse, you know that you're dealing with a fake phony, all right? And that you can't rely on them. But I want to get back to the core of this podcast about how narcissists fight. And here's the thing, you've got to know yourself what you can and can't deal with. If you're somebody, that is a very outgoing person and you believe in, expressing your feelings and everything like that with a narcissist, even though you may think, well, if I open up to that narcissist and I tell them exactly how I feel and I try to be fair and everything like that, maybe they'll understand where I'm coming from. Let me just be clear about this because I've been through this and I can vouch for this, all right? If you're dealing with a narcissist and you could be right and you're speaking the facts and you're talking the truth and you're being open and honest and vulnerable, a narcissist is not going to agree with you. Why? Because it goes against what they want, all right? So if a narcissist doesn't like what you have to say, even if you're right, they're either going to not acknowledge it and walk out on you and stonewall you, or they're going to question your mental state and tell you, you don't know what you're talking about. There's something wrong with your head. You really need to go see a therapist. You're sensitive. Oh, you're so negative. Nobody comes back at you about your mental health and questions your mental health than a covert narcissist who's cornered in a room when you're calling them out on something, all right? So the minute that they start to question your character, who you are, or something like that, because you are saying something they don't like, is the minute that ding, I'm dealing with toxic, back off, disengage. I'm not going to get anywhere with this person. I'm going to be wasting my breath. I'm going to get heated. I'm going to be stressed out, and I'm not going to go anywhere with this person. I need to back off. This is the biggest realization, you guys, that you're going to have when dealing with a narcissist. You can't fucking win with a narcissist, all right? Because they will never own it. They will never own it. That's why you always have to back off from that narcissist and disengage and not deal with them. And if you have to deal with them, you do the bare minimum, sticking to the facts of everyday life, whether it's a boss or something like that. What needs to be done, stick to the facts. You don't get emotional with that narcissist. You don't sit there and cry in front of that narcissist, because if you cry in front of the narcissist is definitely going to think you're weak. All right? And you don't ever want to give them that power, because then they will really manipulate you even more and try to torture you, because it gives them a rush to know that they have that power over you. All right? So don't show your emotions to the narcissist. you respond, you don't react. And this is really hard to do, especially when a narcissist is trying to trigger you. And this is what covert narcissists do all the time, all right? Because they'll sit there, they'll gaslight you, they'll blatantly lie to you. They'll say, oh, I forgot. Nobody acts dumber than a covert narcissist, all right? And why do they do that? They do that to deflect, all right? They'll say, like people say all the time, why do they act dumb? Well, they're acting dumb to get out of taking accountability. Period, dot, end of story, all right? You call them out on something, they don't want to own it, and they can't deal with shame. So they're going to do whatever they can, walk out of the room, give you the silent treatment, play dumb, say they forgot. And this is how they get out of it, all right? This is just their defense mechanism to get out of taking accountability, all right? So when you start to see these things, and this person is not owning something or whatever, you don't sit there, you don't go back and forth, you don't try to, debate them in the courtroom like you're going to, because you're not going to get anywhere. They'll not validate you, okay? Trust me, I've been through this, all right? I've been in situations with narcissists where I sat there and I threw out every fact at them, and you know what they came back and said to me? They said, I'm not interested in what you have to say, okay? And that's when I said, I'm done here. I'm done here. And I disengaged and I said, you know what? Now I don't bother with you. Now when you want to communicate with me, there's nothing to talk about, okay? Because I'm not dealing with a transparent person. So now I know that I need to back off because this person does not want to own the truth, okay? So it's very important. When you are looking for a partner or you're dealing with somebody, you're going to have disagreements. Everybody has disagreements, but it's the level of compromise that you have with that person. Can that person compromise and say, yeah, you know what? You're right about that. But, it's okay to disagree, but they have to be able to acknowledge your point. They have to say, okay, I see where you're coming from. I get it. I understand. Let me see what I could do and how we could change this. All right. This is how somebody resolves conflict. You can't resolve conflict with a narcissist. A narcissist doesn't care about resolving conflict. What they care about is shutting you up and getting what they want. All right. That's why a lot of times the narcissist just throws it under the rug and doesn't want to talk about things, right? Or you go no contact with that narcissist and they'll say, let's just forget about the past and let's move forward. Yeah, sure. You want to move forward because you don't want to own the past. You can't acknowledge the past. But guess what? This problem's going to surface again because it was never resolved. This is the biggest problem. And covert narcissists do this all the time. They're famous for saying, well, let's just move forward. Let's just move forward. You've got to acknowledge the past and resolve the conflict of the past in order to have peace. Because if you don't resolve that conflict from the past, it's going to be smoldering inside you, all right? And you may say, okay, and you go a little while, and they're going to do little things that irritate you again because it was never resolved till you explode, okay? Until you just can't take it anymore, all right? And you're back at square one, all right? This is why a lot of people, they break up, they get back together, they break up, they get back together, and they never fix the problem, okay? And this is how narcissists string you along as well. When you hit them with any kind of, problem or something like that, and they don't want to deal with it, what is that narcissist? A lot of them do this. They say, well, let's take a break. Let's take a break. Yeah, they love the let's take a break so they can go out, have fun, play around, and then come back and they feel you've cooled down. Don't be a sucker. All right? Don't be a sucker, because every time you break up with that narcissist and they come back, they're going to treat you even worse because they figure you're a doormat sitting there and desperate waiting for them to come back. Okay? This is a big, you know how many people I see this happen? They're in relationships, for 4 or 5 years and they broke up like 7, 8 times. All right? And they're in this cycle of going nowhere. It's the same cycle. So the thing is, you guys, you need somebody who's fair, kind, understanding, that doesn't have a problem sitting down and talking, that has humility. Okay, oh, this is so important. You need somebody with humility that could say, yeah, I shouldn't have done that. Or, I could see I'm at fault for something like that. But you see, a narcissist, one of their biggest downfalls is a narcissist has a lot of pride, okay? They have a lot of pride, and they, people with pride, they're arrogant and they don't want to see anybody else's point of view. This is why they are impossible, okay? Impossible. They're only going to aggravate the hell out of you, all right? So when you're, dealing with somebody in the dating stage or whatever, notice how they deal with problems. Like when you have disagreements, how does this person fight? Do they go radio silent? Do they ghost because they don't want to deal with it? Anybody that ghosts you, you should just delete and block. Cut it off from the get-go, because that's just the tip of the iceberg of the headache you'll have later on. Somebody that ghosts on you because they don't like what you say is not somebody that respects you, all right? You've got to let these people know that you're not somebody that they can play with, all right? And the more they think that you're going to take that nonsense, the more they're going to run with it. So you've got to have those strong boundaries, and you've got to be clear and be like, listen, I believe in sitting down and talking when we have a disagreement and working it out, okay? If you have a problem with that, then we're going to have a problem here, okay? And that's how you let them know from the onset, so they can't just come back at you later on and say, well, I didn't know, or this or that. And a lot of times, I got to bring this up too, you guys. A lot of times people will say, like for instance, we had somebody on one of the posts where his girlfriend didn't tell him she had this guy friend. And she says, well, I didn't tell you because I know how you get, okay? And of course he's going to get a certain way, because if you can't be transparent and tell him that you have this friend, then there's something that you're hiding. If you're not hiding something, then there shouldn't be a problem. And if he's understanding and he trusts you, people are going to trust you because you're open, you're honest, and you've given them that feeling of safety. But when people don't trust you, it's because of a reason for not trusting you. It's like I put up a post on one of my social media where it says, nobody says you have more trust issues than a cheating narcissist. And that is so true. A cheating narcissist, the way they're going to, play with your mind and mind fuck you is they're going to say something like, oh, you have a lot of trust issues, probably from your past relationships and everything like that. Meanwhile, this is how they're able to go out and cheat. That narcissist is cheating on you, but they're going to twist it around and make you think that you're crazy. So this is why I say, you guys, you've got to be strong and know who you are. And when you see things that don't look right, you better trust that gut, because that gut is God's way of telling you something's not right, okay? Doesn't matter what comes out of these people's mouths, because people lie all the time. Doesn't even have to be a narcissist that lies. People lie all the time, all right? So you got to look at, this person's pattern of behavior, and their past pattern of behavior. I need to bring that up. You better look at their history, their prior dating, their prior relationship history. That is a blueprint of who you're dealing with, okay? And their childhood, what kind of childhood too. And that will give you an idea of who this person is, how do they fight, how do they deal with problems and everything like that, and look at how they're living. How is this person living, okay? Are they living a decent life, or are they living, in somebody's, their mother's basement, and they don't, they can't even pay rent, or they can't hold a job or something like that? How somebody lives tells you about how responsible that person is, okay? So you got to look at all these things when you're dealing with somebody. Never take anybody at face value, all right? This is the biggest problem. When you go on a job interview, what's that employer going to do? They're going to do a background check on you. They're going to see if you have a criminal background. They're going to see if you have bankruptcy. They're going to look at where you worked. They're going to talk to your prior employers and see what they have to say about you, all right? And it's the same thing in a relationship, only with feelings. you've got to do the same thing to see what this person's about, because their past tells you a lot about who they are, okay? That's the most important lesson in life that you're going to learn, because the greatest indicator of future behavior is prior behavior. Trust me when I tell you that. That is so true, you guys. So I hope that helps you. And if it did, please hit the subscribe button and please share the podcast. Have a great day, you guys. Hi, you guys, it's Yaz, and I want to tell you about my 2 books on Amazon. The first book is Regain Your Power. It's all about power and relationship. Who has the power in the relationship? And it goes into all of that, okay? The other book is Signs He's Not Into You, He's Wasting Your Time, okay? Check it out. It gives you a lot of good clues as to whether you're with somebody who's a real one or somebody who's just going to waste your time. You could read them both with Kindle's free trial membership. So check it out. Link is in the podcast description. If you guys are having a problem in your dating or relationship, or you're dealing with somebody maybe that's narcissistic, you don't know if they're a narcissist, or you're just having problems, you're in a toxic relationship and you need some clarity on it, go to the link in the podcast description for my website where I offer email and phone coaching. If you have a quick question, just a quick question, and you want to get a video sent back to you answering your question, there's also a link there for Vizio where I will send you a personalized video answering your question. Hi, you guys. I just want to let you know that the Game Exposed now has their merchandise available. Check out the link in the bio, and you could go check it out. There's cool hoodies, cool sweatpants, cool hats. So go to the bio for the link. And also, don't forget to follow me on Facebook at The Game EXP123, and also on Instagram, The Game EXP123. Okay? And have a great day.